welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. Today I'm going to do a get ready with me. I have a couple of new makeup products to try for the very first time today. So I thought I would, do a chatty get ready with me and use them. So they are the Natasha Denona Glam Palette. Very, very exciting. That's what it looks like, of course. So I just got this yesterday in the mail. I also have the Fenty mattifying primer I would like to try. And I also got a new Tower 28 gloss, which is the shade Pistachio, which is this really nice nude pink. So I know I'm going to love this, but I definitely want to try out the primer too. So I thought I would do a little get ready with me and try out these new makeup products. I also have been thinking about what to talk about. And I think I'm going to talk about things I wish I would have known, or like advice to my younger self type thing. So that's going to be the general topic of what I have. And I have a few notes on my phone. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of dive in. Since I'm doing Vlogmas, I didn't want to talk about like what's going on in my life because you already know. So let's get my eyes prepped here. I'm just using the Milani primer, and I'm going to set down that with a like matte cream shadow. So advice to my younger self. Now I'm 27, turning 28 in a couple of weeks, so it's not like I've lived a full life, but I have been on my own in an adulthood long enough now that I've learned a few things, especially the last couple of years with the pandemic. I mean, it rocked everybody's world, but I definitely learned a few things. The first is when I moved out now, or I was living on my own, I just learned that there were some things I needed to have in my home. And so I ended up getting some of these as gifts for Christmas for my birthday. I got like a full pot and pan set one year, which was an excellent gift, or like cookie sheets, just like, things for the house. I think anybody that's new to living on their own will always appreciate things for their house. But there were a few random things that I never thought of. So the first is like office supply type items. Like, I never really thought about that I would need some blank envelopes. Like, I don't know, you just need them sometimes. I pay all my bills online, but still, sometimes you just need an envelope, or you need paper clips to keep, important documents together. I also always have a couple of folders to keep, things together. I don't know, I just never thought that I would need office supplies in my house, but I definitely feel like I do. What else do I have on here? Oh, at least 2 pairs of scissors. You have to have 2 pairs of scissors. I feel like they go missing, or they get misplaced all the time. Package of black pens. A lot of times, when you do official paperwork and whatever, you have to use black or blue. Oftentimes black pens. Okay, I'm gonna peel off this mirror sticker. This will be satisfying. Ready? Ooh, that was a good one. Okay. Yeah, black pens. So I still to this day have to every year buy a package of black pens. Okay, before I keep rambling. Okay, so in the palette, I'm going to use probably like this warm brown and maybe a little bit of this cooler kind of taupey brown matte for the crease. I do plan to reorganize this palette in a different manner, but that's what I'm going to start with as I keep talking here. Also, a step stool. I'm short, so this is kind of like a no-brainer for me, but when you put things away at the top of your closet and you only pull it down once a year, you need a step stool to get that stuff back. So yeah, there's just like random things that I never thought about needing, and thankfully you can get a lot of those items, inexpensively. It wasn't a huge burden or anything on my budget to buy anything, but yeah, it was definitely eye-opening when I moved out on my own for the first time to have to think about getting those things or needing those things. The other thing I will say is having a week's worth of food in your house. So the first time I got like really sick when I was living alone, I got really hungry because I didn't keep like cans of soup or anything. Like I didn't even have a frozen pizza. Like I just would grocery shop for what I needed for the week, and that's it. I had nothing else. So I ended up, ordering a lot of food and just kind of snacking my way through being sick. But that was eye-opening, and that also was reaffirmed with the shutdowns with the pandemic, and that you just need to have things on hand. I now live in northern Minnesota. We're actually getting a blizzard today. And so, you know, I'm smart enough to have enough food and all of that at home where I don't need to leave the house and don't have to put myself in a dangerous situation of driving in whiteout conditions. So, you know, I've wised up over the years, I suppose, a little bit with kind of having my home prepped for staying there or not being able to, I don't know, leave all the time. What else do I have on this list here? Oh yes, stamps, basic toolkit. My dad did get me like a basic toolkit with, you know, it was a set that has these 3 drawers. I still use it to this day. It's great. And it just has all of the basic tools. So I don't have to think, do I have that? I don't even know what it is. Sometimes I have friends come over and help fix things. And they're like, I need this specific thing. And I'm like, well, here's my, you know, little chest. You look for it. I don't know what it is. And it always works. So would recommend that. That was from Menards here in the US. It was like a 99-piece toolkit in a red box with 3 drawers. It's awesome. I highly recommend. So I think for my lid, I'm going to do a gold today because I'm kind of wearing this orangey sweater. So I think I'm going to do a gold. Let's see how this is. Ooh, I like that. That's pretty. You know, the thing about these shadows, there's so much more dimension to the shimmers. It's not just a shimmer gold. Like it's, I don't really know how to describe it. The shift that the shimmers give off, and it's not a full duochrome either, but it's amazing. I have the mini retro palette, and then I got this one, and I'm very impressed with the Natasha Denona shadows. They're expensive, don't get me wrong, and they had a price increase because this palette used to be $65 US, and now it's $69. But I waited till the Sephora 20% off coupon came out, or sale or whatever, and got it then. So I saved a little bit of money on it, which is great. Okay, so I think for my eyes, I kind of just want to leave it basic. I don't want to overdo the eyes. So I'm going to just kind of clean up. These mini makeup erasers for cleaning up are so nice. Cool. I'm very happy with this so far. I mean, I'll need to play with it a lot more, but very pleased. So now that I finished the eyes, I'm going to start with the primer. So again, this is a new product. It's the Fenty Pro Filter Mattifying Primer. So I've never tried this. Oh, that's interesting. It's liquidy. Ooh. I was not expecting that. I was expecting a little bit of a thicker cream. Ooh, I might like this. I'm liking how it feels because it's not too heavy on the skin, but it's starting to dry down. So let me give that a second to, you know, just sit into the skin. I was not expecting that texture, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to use my Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. This is my kind of go-to foundation product. And then I have the e.l.f. Oh my goodness, this is getting messy. I should clean this. Hydrating Camel Concealer. Okay, next topic, dating. Dating is so hard in general, you know, especially in your 20s. I don't know. There's a lot of games being played is what I found. You know, I tried different apps, Bumble, Hinge, things of that nature. I don't even know what they all are now. When I was, you know, in my early 20s and single. And to be honest, you would meet like okay people, at least for me, and I'd go on a date or two, and it was just, I don't know. I just felt like everybody was trying so hard to be more, I don't know, further along in their career or more successful money-wise. There was always this like comparison of like, what do you do? Where do you live? And like, you know, comparing the town you live in to a different town. And it just wasn't for me, and it still isn't for me. So I really struggled, and I ended up meeting my boyfriend. We met at a bar the old-fashioned way. And, you know, it was a slow start. We didn't start dating immediately. We had seen each other a couple other times. And about 9 months later, we actually went on our first date. So we had known each other and said hello. And it's not like we were best friends or anything, but we didn't rush into anything. And I'm really glad, because I had a lot of change going on in my life. I just switched jobs and moving and buying a house and all these other things. So I was okay having a slow start. But I would say, you know, if I had to give myself advice, is take a break. It's okay to be single. I actually ended up being single after midway through college, and then after college for about 3-4 years, somewhere in there. And it was great. I had flexibility. I didn't really have a lot of commitments other than my cat, and I think just being patient. And I'm really glad I found my partner like off an app. The thing about apps is you're forced to write this little bio. You pick, your best photos, right? Like it's a highlight reel. And I think it leads to disappointment in a lot of cases. Like you always hear about, oh, they look nothing like their photo, or that photo is old and people change, their bodies change. And so I just feel like meeting someone in real life, while it's difficult, is a little bit better, because you're not, I'm not making an uninformed bias about someone or opinion about someone before I meet them. Whereas on the profile, you swipe through people so fast that I'm making a decision whether I'm interested in talking to you or not so quickly. And I really don't even know you. Like, I don't know. It just, in person, you can kind of see someone's attitudes, and you can see their body language and how they're treating other people around them. And I don't know, it just gave me more realistic options to go off of. So anyway, I feel for anybody that's in the dating pool. It's so hard. And especially if you are wanting a significant other, that's really hard, because you don't always get commitment and you get hurt very easily. So that sucks. I feel for anybody going through the dating pool right now. Let's switch topics into money. So I definitely had some debt, some credit card debt and all that when I started living on my own, but learning how to budget was life-changing for me. I did discover Dave Ramsey, and I also followed Jordan Page. I don't really follow her anymore because she doesn't do as much budgeting content as she once did. But I kind of learned the basics of living below your means and not spending more than you can afford and all of that. So I paid off, my debt and all of that good stuff. But I would say the biggest thing that I learned from the pandemic is that the recommendation of $1,000 emergency fund is not enough. But it's hard. Like, so for someone who's never saved $1,000 before, that's a big deal. And you don't want to delay your payoff either. So if I were to do all of that again, I would save $1,000. And then every month after that, I would put like $20 or $25 into my emergency fund. And then the rest can go to debt and the snowball and all that good stuff. But I think the idea of never stopping contributing to your emergency fund, like, I think that's where I would change things and say, in a year, then if I do $20 a month, that's another $240 in there. And if you have interest bearing, maybe $250, right? And then the next year you're at $1,500, and just letting it build that way, I think is how I would approach it. Because you never know when an emergency is going to come up. And if you needed to spend some of it, hopefully then if it's less than $1,000, you already have a jump start back to that $1,000 threshold. But, I think having a month's worth of expenses, I remember seeing the news share these people that were unemployed due to COVID, like their industry was forced to be shut down, right? And the unemployment processing took so long, and people weren't getting registered and processed and all of that for a month, or I think I heard cases of like 2-3 months. So if you're not getting any income, what do you do in that time frame? Now, COVID was special, and there were a lot of exceptions, and people could apply to have, forbearance on their mortgage and, rent and all those other things. So it was a special circumstance, but it did make me realize the things that I may bank on, like unemployment and being able to just quickly go get a job at Starbucks or, something retail while I find something more substantial in my career path. may not be an option. So that's why I feel like $1,000 is just a little low. I'd prefer to be at least 1 month of expenses. I am sitting at 3 months. Well, I'm close to 4 months of expenses now in my emergency fund. But I put $20 a month. If you watch my budget videos, you know this. And I just let it roll and let it build. And that's been working for me. So I would, definitely go back and change my philosophy on emergency fund. I figured, $1,000 will cover it. And then if I lose my job, I'll just go work at Target and I'll do this. And it may not be that easy. The other thing I would recommend is similar vein with saving is if you have a pet. I know a lot of people have dogs, have cats. Like, it's very common to have a pet. It's your responsibility to be able to take care of them. And the biggest thing I wish I would have done, now thankfully nothing has happened with my cat. He's healthy. But if he would have gotten sick, I would have just put all of that on a credit card and just racked up, the bills and whatever. So I think it's, the responsible thing to do is have a little bit of, it could be your emergency fund, it could be something else, but having money aside for your pets is the responsible thing to do. I do know a lot of times people can't afford to keep their pets and, surrender them to different shelters. And that just breaks my heart. I understand, but it's really hard to think about that. And I would never want to be in that situation. So I didn't plan for anything like that to happen. And I think that was the mistake. And what I would say to change if I could go back is having maybe a second little mini emergency fund of at least, $500 or something for the cat, just in case, and it kind of also goes to, if I were to lose my job, it's my job to provide food for him. And it's my job to make sure that, he has a clean litter box and I can afford to buy litter so that he has the, basic needs he needs. And I never thought about that before. Thankfully, again, nothing happened and it wasn't something that came to, be a real circumstance I'm in, but I just had never thought about it before. And that's a mistake. And then the last topic of advice to my younger self has to do with friends. And the thing about this is I have always been kind of a lone wolf and I have friends. It's not like I'm totally off of my own island, but I am pretty private too. I don't let a lot of people get too close to me. And so I think recognizing that friends are usually tied to a season in your life and that's okay, is what I struggled with. So for me, I went, from high school to college and you kind of learn, you lose touch with high school friends, maybe you see them over winter break and whatever, but life goes on and you kind of go your own ways and that's all right. But then I really felt that after college because we all live together. You're going from living with your best friends and then we all moved to different states. And that was really hard for me. I definitely grieved it. I think that's normal to grieve something like that. But it took me a long time to kind of accept that it's okay if we become just Facebook, Instagram friends and, we like each other's posts, but we don't see each other all the time. And that took a while to get through my mind. And the more I've thought about it, I think that's true. I think your friendships, it's okay if you're not the closest. People move, now a lot of my friends are married and having kids. And there are times where I'm like, how do you have 3 kids by now? What? It's just because my life is very different. So, all of those factors play into how much you can keep in touch with people and all of those things. But Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, whatever, makes it very easy to still stay connected. Whereas, a long time ago, maybe you'd write letters and be pen pals, but at least I can see photos and like it and comment and things of that nature. But it took me a while to become okay with the fact that people were leaving my life and I couldn't just go over to their house and or apartment or whatever and hang out anymore. So, it's a different kind of effort, texting someone or sending them memes or whatever, but it still counts as friendship. And before I thought, okay, well, they move away, we're no longer friends. And that's just doesn't have to be the case. Okay, the last step I have here is my lip gloss. Let's stick this on, and then I'll put my glasses back on and wrap this up. I really like the formula of these Tower 28 glosses. They are just so smooth. So that is my face. I really like it. So we'll see how the primer holds up throughout the day. I should know, about dinner time, how it's doing. And so far, I'm really enjoying that palette. So thanks for hanging out. I would love to hear your advice to your younger self, or, anything like that down below. I know that was rambly of me, but I thought it was interesting to reflect and made me realize I've come a long way. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.